What's up, YouTube? This is Nick from Everything Card Games here, and today I've got a fun little deck tech for you guys. This is a Zacian ADP build, but it's only using two of the League Battle decks that came out today. I just want to say, if you're new to Pokemon or interested, definitely pick two of these up. They're like $24.99 each. You get a lot of good trainers and supporters, along with the two Zacians and an ADP in each one. I mean, Zacian ADPs are by far and away the best deck in Pokemon right now, or at least a lot of people would argue. So definitely recommend picking these up. You also get a code card, so you'll have the exact same deck online. And without further ado, let me get into it. Starting off, we've got four Zacians. This is definitely the main attacker of the deck. If for those who don't know, it has the ability Intrepid Sword. You basically get to draw 3 cards, but if any of them are metal energy, you get to attach them to him. He also does 230 for 3, which is awesome. It turns your turn to use the ability, but that doesn't really matter. You generally just use it turn 1 to get a little energy on him. And then the other big guy is Arceus and Dialga and Palkia. This card is nuts. For 3 energy, it does 150 and attaches 3 energy from the deck to your Pokemon in any way you like. Similar to Pikachu and Zekrom, but its GX attack, Altered Creation, is for a metal and a water. It does all your attacks do 30 damage extra for the rest of the game, and you take an extra prize. So this is the reason you generally do so well in the prize race, because you just, even against one prize decks, you're taking 2 prizes on each one, and it's pretty much impossible for you to not get the one-hit KOs on those. So that's really it for the attackers from this. Unfortunately, it didn't really come with a ton else. As far as support Pokemon, we've got 4 Jirachis. You generally don't always want to run 4, but in this case we are, because we're running a really heavy switch package and we don't have Dedenne. It's a really good card. You can make it a sleep in your active spot to look at the top 5 cards of your deck and add a trainer from among them to your hand. Just a really nice consistency piece. So along similar veins, we've got 2 copies of Oranguru. It just swaps a card from your hand with the top card of your deck. It's really good for Intrepid Sword, because you can swap a metal energy from your hand to the top of the deck and then get it with Intrepid Sword. And then the last 2 Pokemons are good with a tech card. We've got a Mewtwo and a Galarian Zigzagoon. This just does a damage on when you put it from your hand onto the bench. It's good for getting key KOs, because it takes Zacian with Altered Creation to 270 instead of 260, which means you're getting Mewtwo and Mew and Reshiram and Charizard. Just a lot of good stuff like that. And there's ways to buy both of these back. And when you put this from your hand onto your bench, you put a supporter from your discard to the top of your deck, which then you can draw with Oranguru. So that's it for the Pokemon lineup. Next, for the supporters, it's pretty standard. You got 4 copies of Professor's Research, just discard your hand, draw 7. Most decks run it at 3 or 4. Along those lines, for Marnie, you and your opponent each put your hand on the bottom of your deck. You draw 5, your opponent draws 4. It's a really nice disruptive tool, because if they drew a bunch of cards, you can just get them down to 4 like a judge, but you're also drawing 5 cards, so it's not bad in that sense. Oh, 4th Marnie. And the last supporter is 4 copies of Boss's Orders. This card's really important in the Eternatus matchup, because you don't actually interact that well with their 340 HP, but they can one-shot just about anything you have. So what you do is you just Boss's Orders up Dedennes and not Dedenne, but Crobats, and you just one-shot those for 3 prizes each, and that's how you win that matchup. Quick Ball, as a 4 of, is just a really good search card. Most decks run it. That's another reason, again, why if you're new to the game, you should really pick this up, because you get all of this. And the thing about picking up 2 is you get the full Zacian line, and you get extras of so many of these. To go on a bit of a tangent, this was a 4 of in one of them. These were 2 of each, but you get a whole extra playset of Marnie and Professor's Research, which is really nice, especially because I'm a person that likes to play a lot of different decks. So I want to have a lot of copies of the main staples, and that's just a good way to get them. Moving on to the rest of the deck, we've got 4 Scoop Up Net. So what this does is for a, all right, am I running 4 or 3? Oh, my bad. Oh, no, yeah, 4. So what it does is you pick up a non-GX or V Pokemon from your board to back to your hand. It's a way to reset the Jirachi because the Jirachi's asleep in the active when you use the ability. This acts like a switch. You can just put it back into your hand and then put something else forward. It also works with like Galarian Zigzagoon to get an extra damage counter, or like Mewtwo to get a supporter back. It's just a really solid card. I don't love it in like the fully optimized ADP builds because you run like Jidenes and Crobats and stuff, but I really liked it for this build. It's a nice little consistent engine. And then Metal Saucer for some energy acceleration. You just put a metal energy from your discard to a bench, so Zacian. It's just nice for loading up extra Zacians and keeping that train going smooth. 4 copies of Switch, really just important card in general. Helps you get out of boss's orders. It also is really nice because of the Jirachis, because you need some way to like actually get them out of the active because you can't use U-turn board anymore. So just a really good card overall. And then for the stadium, 2 Viridian Forest. The turn player can discard a card to search a basic energy. It's really important for finding the water energy for Altered Creation. And it also can bench extra metal energies for Metal Saucer to get back. In general, just really good. 2 copies of Big Charm. This card just gives the Pokemon 30 HP. It's really nice because it means, like, for example, in the Eternatus matchup, if you have a Big Charm on your ADP, then they can't just, like, do 270 with their attack and then 1 Galarian Zigzagoon. All of a sudden they have to do, like, 3. And then all of a sudden, like, at that point, then it's just a matter of finding a boss's order for the Crobats, and then, like, even the ADP can one-shot the Crobat if it lives, so it's just a really good card for that. 1 copy of Energy Switch. It's just kind of helpful, like, you tend to, like, have, like, 1 extra energy floating around from the first Ultimate Ray from the ADP, and it's just a nice way to, like, move it over to something a little more relevant if you don't have, like, another Zacian when you do it, like if you have to put it on, like, an Oranguru or something. So it's nice for that. 1 Great Catcher to just, it's pretty much just there to get Didenes up front. Or like a Pikaron that's about to be loaded up or something. It's just a good card. And then as far as the energy, I've got 7 metal energy, 2 Aurora, and then 2 water. Technically, like, fully optimized lists only run like 1 water, and then they run 1 less, or I think I'm on like 8. Yeah, 8 metal energy, and then they run like 7, 4, and then 1. For the Viridian Forest build, I like having the 2 water energy. I mean, Aurora energy is nice because it's more consistent that you can use it with Zacian, but just having the ability to search this more reliably with the Viridian Forest, I kind of like. So yeah, that's the deck overall. Your general setup is turn 1, you want to go like energy onto our ADP and then have a Zacian, and then you want to use the Intrepid Sword, and the next turn you want to Altered Creation. At that point, you're hoping that the ADP doesn't get one-shotted or like get knocked out. As far as like decks that can do that, I mean, maybe like if you're up against like a fire deck that goes turn 1 welder into an attack, like that's the only real way the ADP is dying. If it doesn't happen, then you just get to like Ultimate Ray next turn and then be set up for the rest of the game. Other than that, if there's other things you want, other things you would like to buy to upgrade the deck, some really good options. Dedenne GX, it's like $3. It's got an amazing ability. I think it's called Dynacharge, where when you bench it, you can discard your hand, draw 6, but you can only do that once a turn. Really good setup Pokemon. It's used in pretty much every deck. I would highly recommend getting it. Getting a copy of Zamazenta to deal with the VMAXs is really good because it's just immune to them. It does like 130 for 3. It's not great, but it doesn't really matter if they can't KO you. And I think that's like $1 or $2 or something like that. But other than that, if you just wanted to get 2 decks and throw them together, this is what I came up with. I've really liked messing around with it. If you've liked this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe for more stuff. I'm going to try to be doing more content with like every game. So this is my first Pokemon video, so huzzah. With that being said, this is Everything Card Games, and have a great rest of your evening.